Welcome first-time listeners and returners to the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. What about fucking Colin? Why does he not have a fucking job? Because he's still being whiteballed. Why is Tom not speaking out about that? He should be his biggest fucking ally. And he hasn't said one fucking thing. A lot of people that have come on this show, I don't know why, they've gotten some good fucking jobs afterwards. Jim Rome in the jungle. It's right here in the Sports Deli, baby. We got some good ass karma right here. Let's fucking go.
I love it.
Man.
I love it.
We hope you enjoy today's show, everyone. All right, let's rock and roll. So today's podcast is brought to you by my Amazon shop. Check it out at amazon.com/shop/The Sports Deli. And you can see all the products that I've done videos on, my idea list, and my shoppable photos. I may make a commission on any of the things that you watch or see, but it's at no extra cost to you. And finally, check out my TikTok shop where I have a number of products for sale. Again, I may make a commission, but it's at no extra cost to you. Just go to my profile, tiktok.com/@MikeHootner on your smart device. Enjoy today's show. Do we have to refer to him as Mr. Duncan? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, please, I'm very formal, Secretary Duncan.
There you go. All right, let's hit it. Welcome first-time listeners and returners to the Sports Deli. This is Hoot, host and producer of the Sports Deli podcast. Let's get right into it. Today we will be discussing the lawsuit between Alicia Berber, the plaintiff, and Riverside Community College District, the defendant, about the most recent amended lawsuit against Riverside City College and the Riverside Community College District, submitted by Alicia Berber and her attorney, Daniel Kolajay. You are not going to believe some of the things in this lawsuit which can be read now publicly that I have posted on my website at thesportsdelipodcast.com. And today we will discuss portions of it, and I encourage you to go to my website, click the link in the upper left of that homepage, and read the lawsuit. For those of you that have not watched the previous 4 podcasts regarding this situation, I encourage you to listen or watch them on YouTube in order to give you a better feel for why we are at this juncture in this process. If you have not listened to our podcast before or watched our podcast, we are an anti-racist equality podcast, and we create a safe space for people to come and share their stories and talk about social injustice, inequality, leadership, mental health, and white privilege. So again, we appreciate you joining us today. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. We are in season 4. This is episode 13. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope that you get some sort of inspiration, motivation, or education, or a combination of all of the above. Let's get started. We are going over the lawsuit of RCCD, Riverside Community College District, versus Alicia Berber. And this is the first time I've ever seen the amended lawsuit. You can go to thesportsdelipodcast.com and check it out for yourself. It's right there on the top in the upper left-hand corner. And go down, if you've already become somewhat aware of the initial lawsuit, just drop down to number 52 on page 17, where it says new allegations and incidents of discrimination, harassment, and retaliation since the initiation of the instant action. So the first portion that we just talked about had to do with the weight room and the uncomfortableness that Alicia had to face with regards to the strength coach, Panay Telamaival, not sanitizing after using and only putting the weights away and getting out after Alicia started filming. Like, that's what it comes down to? Really? But yes, that's small compared to all the other things she's had to deal with over the course of 20 plus years. The assistant track coach, Nick Robinson, cussed her out. Is number 53. You can look at the details of that. Number 54 has to do with being in a compromising position, having to represent the district at the National Conference on Race and Ethnicity, but also having to share her own story. She's trying to bring attention and remedy this ongoing hostile work environment, and constantly has to relive it because she has to share her own testimonials as a part of representing the district. So there was a golf tournament fundraiser in April of 2022. This was discussed 2 separate times. She registered for the newly revived golf tournament, with the expectation that it would be a great event and return to normalcy after COVID. Unfortunately, the experience was the opposite. Barry Meyer, the original AD that you can read about earlier in the original lawsuit, or up above, if you're looking at the original first few pages of the original lawsuit and allegations. Barry Meyer, who was the AD originally when Alicia was hired, and they found pornography on his computer, and he was abusive, retaliated, and harassed her, just to name a few things that he did. And he was later let go. So this Barry Meyer was present with some of his entourage, all of whom are welcomed by the administration still allowed on campus, still allowed to park on campus, still allowed to attend events. Sickening. Literally disgusting. Alicia left early in disgust. She was later pressed for payment for the golf tournament, as my original payment did not go through, even receiving calls about it from the AD after work hours at home. And she decided that she will not pay to be harassed and insulted. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. On March 30th, 2022, there was a football player that entered the classroom time in the weight room, removed equipment without permission. So these types of things with the weight room happened quite often. This type of behavior, even done without any purported malice, but just with disregard for the women's rights, is at the core of the pending lawsuit and internal equity complaints and investigation. So you go to number 3 on page 20. Again, you can find this lawsuit on my website at thesportsdailypodcast.com. This is the amended website of Alicia Berber versus RCCD, Riverside Community College District. One of the underlying allegations of misconduct and retaliation was a false report by Barry, I have pornographic material on my computer, Meyer, about me to the CCCAA regarding a compliance issue. This sick individual also said that Alicia was not going to get any fundraising money if she didn't show up while she was trying to raise a family at a bar with the boys after work when she was first hired at Riverside City College. Anyways, this gave the assistant football coaches preferential treatment for classes. So that's what number 3 under 54 talks about, bulleted item number 54. Those allegations include giving assistant football coaches preferential treatment. Thus, the fact the assistant football coach was appointed to a position of compliance officer is inherently corrupt and reflective of the RCCD's disregard for compliance and equity. Assigning the football coach over my objections as reported directly to the chancellor. Now, mind you, the chancellor on down to all the VPs, to the several athletic directors, we're going to be going on to our 3rd now, or 4th, have all been complicit in all of these allegations. Steve Siglock is also heavily involved in all of these harassments, intimidations, and other illegal behavior as the department chair. Disgusting, along with most of these administrators and enablers. Literally make me sick to my, I just cannot, I don't understand it. Could wrap my head around it in 63, 93, maybe even 03. But in 2023, this literally is the most disgusting thing I've ever read in terms of lawsuits. It's unbelievable. Alicia goes on to say, I don't know who else was considered for this director position, but I find it unlikely that a more suitable or less offensive candidate was available. The optics, to say the least, were questionable. So you go on to number 4, sports officiating class, kinesiology 25, assignment and overpayment. Past semesters, I asked Steve Siglock, what a putz, to assign me to a sports officiating class. I really wonder, how people get to be in these positions of leadership. Steve Siglock has no business being in a leadership position. There was a former tennis coach there who literally disgusts me at this point. It's just unbelievable. I just can't even wrap my head around some of this stuff. How are you not, in this day and age, standing up for any marginalized community, especially women? And, Alicia is a woman of Latina descent, Hispanic descent, and it's literally mind-blowing to me. So anyways, Alicia asked Steve Siglock to assign me a sports officiating class that was then assigned to a non-tenured faculty and assistant football coach. Instead of doing so, he assigned the class to a tenured faculty member, more senior than I, and then created a second section for the class and assigned that to me. However, he did all this knowing that the second section would not fill, as there would not be sufficient students. And so basically what happens a lot of times with these classes is that they get dropped for low enrollment. Now usually there is a discretionary portion of the contract. I can't confirm that. But when I used to work at the community college, the athletic director could say in 10% of the cases that you're going to allow a class to continue even if it's below the normal numbers. And so clearly this was not done in this case if that is one of the stipulations that is allowed by the athletic director. And so now you give a full-time tenured professor overload. So they get overload in addition to their regular 100% load. So they get paid a lot of money, sometimes more for the overload. And Alicia is denied when she was part-time and now as a tenured professor full-time the opportunity to teach that class herself. It's not the first time it's happened. Similar manipulation deprived her, as I just talked about, of a basketball theory class in favor of a men's basketball coach in 2020 and 2021. Head men's basketball coach tried to have their TA displace her and reassign the class. Steve Siglock would not open a new section because of possible low enrollment. So again, just the retaliation is sickening. Summer assignments in 2022, that the new compliance director has a full-time staff position that covers the summer months. The new compliance director was assigned summer classes by the department chair. Meanwhile, though requested, my female part-time assistant was not offered a summer class assignment. So again, this is a Title IX issue. And there's some understanding that people that are part-time at community colleges, if you also coach, you're supposed to get priority, especially in the summer or intersession. And that's how you supplement your income. Now, if you're a part-timer in the district and you're not coaching, the unwritten rule is, sometimes maybe it's a written rule in certain districts, that you are trying to reward those that are putting in so much time as an assistant coach with a very small stipend to get some type of course to teach so that it makes it worth your time that you put in as a coach. And clearly this wasn't being evenly distributed by Steve Siglock. What a putz. Guy makes me literally sick to my stomach. If any true equity were being offered in the class assignments for the summer, allocations would be made to ensure the female assistant coaches were assigned summer classes, as we just talked about. Number 6, end of season basketball game and protest. This is February 24th, 22. The team staged a protest for equality in women's sports. The turnout support from fans was immense. Even the other team participated. T-shirts are now in demand nationally. And so those shirts are amazing, by the way. Check those out. You can contact me, and I can find out through Alicia where to get those shirts that you see in all of our podcasts. However, at the game, the AD assigned members of the men's basketball team to watch the doors. So this is problematic in and of itself, knowing all the problems that the men's basketball coach, who comes across as this really kind, wonderful person in society and to other coaches. I've asked at least 4 coaches in the men's community college district here in California, and districts in California about him. And they all say that he's, comes across as a good guy. But Alicia, as she shared on this show before, has called his players the N-word. He has been abrasive, to say the least, to his players. He has screamed at Alicia in meetings with VPs and union reps present, so much so that the president's office, several doors away, could hear him berating her, and nothing was done about it. So this men's basketball coach, who's been doing this for a long time, shouldn't be in a position of leadership, in my opinion. He should be gone. He is disgraceful, and anyone that's not standing up for Alicia's mistreatment should be out, whether it's been a covert or overt effort to marginalize her, abuse her, mistreat her, retaliate against her, or anything in between. Again, bad optics. Number 7, other aggression, retaliation from colleagues. Colleagues have shunned and ostracized her in many ways. You can go on and read about that. Read about that in that number 7 paragraph on page 24. Men's basketball coach Phil Matthews is his name, by the way, if you want to go look him up, and maybe send him an email. Maybe give him a call and ask him why he's done what he's done over the course of his time with Alicia. You make me sick, Phil. You literally make me sick. You're a disgrace to men's college basketball coaches. And I coached on the men's side for a long time. And I asked a lot of men's coaches about you. You certainly have a different way of acting behind closed doors and to women, well, at least to Alicia, allegedly, and to men that you encounter, fellow coaches in the Community College District of California. Shame on you. Like, shame on you. Flat out. Literally disgusting. Makes me sick to my stomach, people like you. It's just fucking ridiculous. It's insulting. It's disgusting. It's un-American. It's immoral. It's inhumane. And gaslighting her constantly. Allowing your players to do what they've done. Like, you can read it right here in the lawsuit, everybody. Go ahead and check it out. If it doesn't make your blood boil, then there's something wrong with you. It's literally disgusting. And Phil's not alone. He's not alone. Now, what Alicia's had to endure during this entire stretch of 20 plus years is literally the most, man, 2 kids, married, has to try and go to work every day, has to lock herself in the office, has been run off the road. Unbelievable. Just huge disparities. Not just over a misunderstanding, over 2+ decades. Number 55, August 27, 2022. Phil Matthews, head men's basketball coach. Here we go again. Phil, is your nickname Puxatawny Phil? Because it seems like Groundhog Day is happening over and over again with you. Literally disgusting, man. Like this guy is unbelievable. Like, he needs to pay. District needs to pay. Everyone involved in the health and exercise science department, if that's what it's called there, in physical education and athletics, they all need to pay. It's so disgusting. Alicia runs a camp every year. He had no explanation other than the past is the past because she used to use the Wheelock gym for the annual summer camp. He said that Alicia is making herself to be a pariah and just fucked herself, and that I should only be complaining about the kinesiology department and not the athletics program. That I shouldn't fuck with people's livelihoods. That's the definition of gaslighting, literally. Hey everyone, appreciate you joining me. You can go to thesportsdailypodcast.com, click the link on the upper left, the screenshot of the lawsuit. Again, we're talking about Phil Matthews. I hope we can get off him in a minute here because it's just literally disgusting and my blood's boiling just like talking about this, like literally disgusting human being for all these allegations. So anyways, this illegal behavior, allegedly, where he's cussing at her, similar to the assistant track coach earlier, was basically ignored. June 10th, 2022. Siglaki, again, department chair, delays and questions routine signature for special project assignment for data coaching, where a deadline for the form to reach HR was that day to make it up on the board meeting for the following week. Very embarrassing and distressful when Mr. Glover inquired with Ms. Berber at the RCC graduation ceremony about Siglock holding up the SPR form. How convenient. Steve, July 20th, 2022. Her team was beginning her session. Assistant football coach sent 3 football players to the weight room to retrieve weights, again, without asking permission, just grabbing the weights. One of the things that I've experienced as a community college coach is, if somebody wants to borrow some equipment while you're in there, then feel free. But like in this kind of situation, like just stay out. It's not your time. So it's literally ridiculous. The next AD, Peyton Williams, was spoken to about 3 coaches she was hiring. He said to send him all the resumes. Alicia followed up with an email. The paperwork was started per our conversation about a new assistant coach, strength coach, and volunteer administrative assistant coach. The AD re-interviewed them for the position. One coach said he shared his name but never gave his title. What position will you be holding there? What is your coaching experience? Basically re-interviewed them. What was your most rewarding experience as a coach? What was your most challenging? Why do you want to coach? Second coach reported AD Williams asking him what would be your role with RCC basketball. How long have you known Alicia? Why did you leave your prior coaching position? As soon as Alicia heard about this, she spoke with HR and was informed that it was improper for AD Williams to be conducting these interviews in this manner and that some of the questions were also improper. Shocker. That AD's since been let go also, by the way. On August 22nd, 2022, Alicia was teaching her varsity basketball class. The class is scheduled from 11:30 to 1:35, Monday through Friday. There's a 10-minute passing period before the next class, which is not intended to start until 1:45. At 1:30, men's assistant coach Andre Wilson starts bringing in about 30 male students into the gym. So, this stuff is just incessant and illegal. The stuff that continues to go on even till today. Alicia asked them to give her a few minutes. Then I said, wait, our class is not over. And he responded, it's 1:30. I replied, my class is not over until 1:35. He still kept waving them in. So I was then compelled to address him more directly and shouted, get out. At that time, the players started to leave and Coach Andre started to call someone on his phone. We finished, and as we were leaving the court, one of my female student athletes reported to me that as she was grabbing her water bottle and began to walk out, one of the male students said to her, yeah, that's right, keep fucking looking straight. The same student also told me that before class, Coach Andre approached her asking her with a nasty tone saying, did Coach Des quit? The student said that she got a new coaching job. Coach Des has advanced her career to coach at Colorado State University. Coach Andre then asked if new coaches were hired yet, and the student said they hadn't met them yet. None of these questions were appropriate, especially addressed to a student. Like, this is nothing compared to what has happened there. This has happened on a number of occasions. So now Alicia feels the need to close class early because it's so stressful. So, you can continue on. We're on page 28. If you're going to look at the website on my website, if you're going to look at the lawsuit from my website, it's at thesportsdailypodcast.com. So another class issue at number 10. Lynn Wright, the men's assistant basketball coaches, came into the gym and dropped their stuff off at the table without saying anything to me or Miss Wright, not even acknowledging us, without regard to the fact that my materials and personal items were occupying the desk or table. At about 1:37, Coach Matthews walked out, scheduled to blow the whistle as if the class was started at 1:47. This is a disruption, obviously. There's a 10-minute waiting period, as we mentioned. That means the class didn't really start for 8 minutes. So again, Alicia was forced to get out of there before she needed to. This pattern of harassment, intimidation, interference, and discrimination, whether intentional or careless, must stop. And Daniel Collegier was obviously kept in the loop with all of this stuff. Extremely distressing, disruptive, and disheartening, to say the least. Alicia was shocked, she shouldn't have been, by Peyton Williams, the AD, entered the class 2 minutes prior to the schedule of the class with a sanitation gun. AD Williams then yelled out, are you done? I replied, no, let us get out. I then huddled up, like, what kind of AD does this? This guy is another one that should never get a job. Go work at a gas station, buddy. Coach Matthews, the instructor of record, and assistant coach Andre were not present. September 6, 2022, the athletic trainers scheduled annual fall physicals today. She had to stop class early to the disruption and noise because it was in the upper part of the gym during her class time without notice or prior discussion. September 12th, another incident. Looking forward to hosting the Title IX 50-year anniversary that has been planned and pending for about a year now, a focal point for the athletic department. Men's basketball coach, Coach Matthews, she presumes, alleges, scheduled a scrimmage with another school at Wheelock Gym that directly conflicts with our long-standing. Like, if I'm the athletic director, I'm sorry, a Title IX event takes priority over a scrimmage. It just does. Schedule your scrimmage another time, especially when this has been planned for a year and it was proven in paperwork. So it was forced to be moved to a different location, Ramona High School. So this was a whole other incident. So you can read about that. District administration would not compel men's basketball to change the scrimmage date, effectively allowed men's basketball to intrude upon, disrupt, and displace the Title IX event, knowing time was of the essence to plan and promote the event. It was unconscionable, especially in light of then-President Gregory Anderson's email, which was attached to that complaint, in which he committed that the administration will do whatever we can to support planning and putting resources behind the event. Yeah. So you go to number 59, informed AD Williams about the Ramona High School AD to see if that was available. Obviously, she's concerned about additional interference. Vulgar language used by men's basketball players. Number 61, demanding that they leave. She understandably raised her voice after the initial requests were ignored. Like, this is stuff that Alicia has to endure and at the very least think about every single day if there's going to be another incident. Because clearly the men's basketball coach as I've been a men's basketball coach. I've been an associate head men's basketball coach at the community college level. I've trained professional players. I've trained high level. Like, this is not even something that I would not reprimand the first time it happened. It would never happen again, or you'd be off the team. So clearly, he's been complicit in all of this, allegedly. So another incident, October 10th, Alicia asked 2 men's basketball players to leave the gym because there was a class starting at 9:35. They got up slowly, took their time to try and get an adverse reaction. And she asked a men's basketball player on October 12th, who was unsupervised, just finished playing one-on-one with another student, sitting down with his shirt off and on his phone. She asked him to leave because the class was starting. He was sitting down at a table, no shirt on, talking on the phone. My class is starting, you have to go. He responded with, "You can ask nicely." I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "You can ask me nicely." See, this is the other thing. Get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out of the gym. Like, I would never have even considered, even if a coach was impatient or having a bad day, to disrespect a coach. It'd be, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't know." Like, what in the entire fuck is going on? Man, this is all on the men's basketball coach. I am sorry. He was trying to get a rise out of her, obviously. October 14th, discovered the paperwork for the members of the women's basketball team eligible for academic all-state recognition was done incorrectly. How convenient. But it should be noted that the women's basketball team had the highest fall GPA, 3.66, and overall for the entire 21-22 school year, 3.33. Props to Coach Berber and her staff and the student athletes, the scholar athletes. The only person that attended the Title IX event at Ramona High School was the DEI representative, Dr. Anise Moore. I apologize if I botched that name. October 19th, 2 basketball players again walked through the class. October 20th, Alicia was gone and excused from class, which was approved by Dean Blair. A student from my walking class texted me, "I think Mr. It's Siglock that's coming for your neck." This is the same student who was asked where I was during an earlier incident. Professor Siglock shared with her that he knows when I cancel, and that basically she did the correct paperwork and he was alleging that she didn't. It's an exhaustive process that she has to face constantly, being under scrutiny constantly, having athletic directors touch her inappropriately, comment on her breasts, comparing them to brownies and her nipples to brownies during a Christmas party, publicly, out loud, in front of other people. The list is endless. And you can see from this lawsuit, 100 whatever it is, 52 items. Unbelievable. Bill Matthews, the basketball coach, during a meeting said, "This meeting is a waste of time. I'll make sure you guys will not be in the gym until 1:40 so we can all just leave." Dr. Lynn Wright responded, "She will still address my concerns," and Coach Matthews feigned ignorance, exclaimed, "What concerns?" So basically playing dumb. Dr. Wright referred to those listed in the emails. Phil Matthews was visibly upset and hostile, and this is what I talked about earlier. So basically, he berated her and tried to gaslight her in the office with the VP and the union rep in the office during this meeting. October 26, 2022, the day after and a month after class assignments, Professor Siglock informed me that James Cook decided to pull seniority to take Alicia's class away. Again, this is overload. So he gets paid more, which is in the contract. Usually that overload takes priority over part-timers, but it should be a seniority issue when it comes to 2 full-timers, which is $6,000 in additional income. Now, mind you, Alicia has lost a house in the process of all of these incidents over the course of 20 plus years because of lost income, emotional distress, fear for her life, fear for her daily safety, locking herself in the office on dozens, if not hundreds of occasions until it's her class time, blocking her windows so nobody can see inside. Just disgusting. She deserves better. And Riverside City College does not deserve her. I can tell you that right now. So another incident, number 65. Now, again, there's 150 plus things here. We're not going to get through it all today, but I appreciate you guys joining me. So I'm going to go through the rest of it later. We've got about 7 minutes or so left for today. Number 67, an email was sent to Dr. Cruz Soto, copied to VP Lynn Wright and Dean Scott Blair. Another situation, October 31st, 2022. I'm just going to tell you these dates. This is how many things that have happened. Recently, October 31st, 2022, concerns for her safety. November 1st, needing a police escort. November 2nd, men's basketball players walking in and out of class again. She fears for her life when she's in there. I mean, we know the kind of things that happen in these kinds of situations. Like, we know about mass shootings. We know about how people behave a lot of times when they're angry. Like, it's the first thing I thought about. Like, are one of these men's basketball players or employees, even though they're gaslighting her allegedly, going to bring a gun to school? She's already been tried to run off the road. She's already been cussed out. She's already been harassed, manipulated, retaliated against, like lied to. I mean, if you think that she doesn't think about that, I can't speak for her, but I'm thinking about it. And I know I speak for Cheryl Miller because she's already said it before on the show. Like, her safety is the number one concern. And making Riverside City College and all of the people in leadership positions who are responsible for allowing these egregious, retaliatory, illegal behaviors, violations of Title IX, sexual harassment to continue. She's going to win. It's just a matter of how much. I think it should be $100 million. That's just me personally. I don't know anything about law. But I think we should send a message that $100 million, thanks Ethan for liking the live, $100 million will send a message that you don't fuck with women's equal rights. You just don't. And somebody having to endure what she's endured for 20 plus years, just check out the lawsuit at thesportsdailypodcast.com. Click the lawsuit at the top of the page. You will not believe what you read. If you actually sit down and read it for a couple hours, you will not believe that a human being, a woman of Hispanic origin, has had to go through what she's gone through, what she's endured, and stayed there for the kids. November 10th through 12th, during an annual Earning Our Stripes women's basketball tournament, you would not believe what she had to endure from morning until the end of that tournament. Unbelievable. From behavior to Title IX banners illegally being made when she had permission from the Hall of Fame, copyright violations. I mean, it's unreal. People getting in her way to set up when she's trying to set up. November 15th, 2022, November 18th, 2022. They were in the travel bus ready to leave. A men's basketball player poked his head in and said, "Oh, what do we have here?" Same student athlete that had threatened Alicia twice before. Apparently the conversation from Dean Blair was ignored that he had with him, with Dean Blair. It's obvious that head coach is not educating his students about proper behavior. No punishment for his behavior. November 22nd, November 30th. Do you know how much, like, I can't even imagine trying to do my job, be a mom of 2 kids, be a wife, and have to constantly, you know how much time it takes to submit emails and documentation for all these 100 new amended issues that she had to include in this amended lawsuit. Do you know how much time? Do you know how much energy? Do you know how much of a toll that takes on your mental health? More harassment towards her student athletes. Both programs have been given permission to utilize Wheelock Gym. Plans were made last night with one of the coaches to help get extra shots up. When the coach opened the gym, she walked in and proceeded to walk across the floor, only to be welcomed with deliberate harassment. Lyndon Paul decided to yell out, "If it was us in the gym with them, it would have been a whole problem." December 1st, 2022, another incident. December 2nd, another incident. December 7th, another incident. December 13th, another incident of misinformation that Alicia was reading. Now, a lot of this stuff I've known about because Alicia and I have talked about it, but now it's actually in a lawsuit. Coach Matthews now all of a sudden is a fervent Title IX supporter. No, he's not. Not based on his conduct. You don't just put up a banner first time illegally, even if you did get permission later, and now all of a sudden you're an ally of Title IX and the women's basketball program. I call bullshit. Women's program achievements are misappropriated, and the record of events to date are grossly distorted. Shameful and embarrass RCCD. What happened with the Hall of Fame Title IX banner and the Title IX event on October 15th. To be clear, I want the Hall of Fame Title IX banner to be prominently used and displayed year-round below each scoreboard. On the other hand, I don't want it or Title IX to be used in a manner contrary to to their express purposes, including as it appears from Coach Matthews' emails and conduct, as a weapon to attack me or my efforts to promote equality in our sports program and community, or to obscure the men's program, defiance of all Title IX represents, and those who condone that. So it goes on to continue to elaborate on that. December 21st, 2022, an email, January 5th, 2023. You can go on. There's another 50 things here. And we will continue to talk about these things. Threatening, harsh tones, March 6th, March 15th, from things in the football locker room, no sexual harassment or bias training. Steve Siglock, again, has consistently assigned himself the first pick of the most favorable classes. And the new DFA-EH complaint filed a new complaint with the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, and a right to sue notice was issued on March 24, 2023. And so then numbers 90 through 152, I believe it is, goes through specifically the allegations. So feel free to go ahead and check all that out. You can, again, check it out at thesportsdailypodcast.com. If the original lawsuit wasn't enough, these new allegations are absolutely disgusting. And like I said, my personal opinion is send a message. So even if they settle, even if it's decided by a judge or a jury that it's much less than that, at least you can go back and say, we wanted to send a message to all the women and girls out there, to all the wives, to all the aunts, to all the people that fought for Title IX from June 23rd, 1972 until now, as we are in the 51st year of Title IX. And we are in 100% support of Alicia Berber, head women's basketball coach at Riverside City College, and everything that she is asking for. I believe these allegations to be 100% true. There's no doubt in my mind, and we're asking for your support. I will again be contacting ESPN, the Associated Press, CBS Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Times, the New York Times, and many others, and many others. And if you don't think that your voice matters, and you don't think that sharing a post or liking a post or listening to or watching a podcast matters, it does. It absolutely does. And Alicia's been featured on the Women's Sports Network. She's been featured in the Los Angeles Times not once but twice. She's been on this podcast 4 times. I'm sure it'll be a 5th time at some point. She has the support of some of the most powerful women's basketball influencers that not only know about it but support her. And this is much bigger, even though it's about Alicia and her family. It's much bigger than Alicia and her family. It's about Title IX. As I say in my posts that I've been posting every day for 196 days, that shirt is much more than a t-shirt. It's about all the women and girls out there. It's about Title IX. We ask for your support. We'll be contacting the National Women's Law Center. And if you want to become involved in this in any way, shape, or form to help support Alicia going forward, you can always send me an email to thesportsdeli@gmail.com. Appreciate you joining me today. This has been podcast number 5 with regards to the lawsuit of Alicia Berber against Riverside City College and the Riverside Community College District. And until next time, appreciate you joining me. Appreciate listening. Appreciate watching. Remember, it takes a village. Much love, everybody. Peace. Thanks again for joining us today, everyone. Feel free to send me an email to thesportsdeli@gmail.com. Also, check out my link tree. It's /Mike Hootner. Also like to thank a few people. 40 Tons brand is a socially conscious cannabis brand, and they're doing amazing things. Check them out. We'd also like to thank Moolah Kicks, the first ever female brand basketball shoe in the history of the world. We'd also like to encourage you, if you're having a hard day and if you're feeling like you just don't want to live anymore, all you have to do is dial 988 from any phone, and there will be someone there 24/7, 365. So don't feel like you have to fight this battle alone. Don't forget to do your self-breast and self-testicular exams every month. It's really important, as early detection is the key. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Reach out to your local and state politicians for any individual or group that you feel are being marginalized. Stop the bullying. Stop the Asian hate. Let's end gun violence with common sense laws. Let's be allies for the LGBTQIA plus community. And I challenge those of you in the white space to be anti-racist, to be bridges and vessels, to help bridge the gaps between black and white America. And remember, until next time, it takes a village, everyone. Much love.